Please be sure to support the video we reacted to today by clicking the link at the top. Enjoy the show! I'm actually a huge fan of Kung Fu Panda. Look, I don't need to explain, right? You all understand why. Alright, Kung Fu Panda 1, S tier. S plus tier. Okay, Kung Fu Panda 2, S plus tier. Kung Fu Panda 3, A plus tier. A tier. Final scene. Hold on. Which one was the one with the peacock? The second one, right? The second one was the one with the peacock? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm right. I'm correct. I'm correct. I think I got it. Third one is so it's okay, it's alright. The second one's the one with the peacock, right? That one's freaking goated. Oh my god, that one's insane, dude. That one's freaking nuts. Is that the one with the peacock? The one with the peacock is honestly like just it belongs SS plus tier as well. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't lie to you. I hold both that one and the first movie and the peacock one on pretty much even terms, but I think the peacock one might even take it for me. I'll be completely honest. That ending scene, the freaking bamboo hat throw. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my god. I'm convincing myself. I feel like maybe that one's even better than the first one. Anyway, point being, I'm not hearing good things about the fourth one, and I was kind of weirded out by it. I'm like, wait, you already did the trilogy. Why is there a fourth one? Don't get me wrong. Anytime Blackjack gets my apologies, bro is a legend. Anytime Jablinski Gaming on YouTube gets a paycheck, Jack Black, I am in. I am down. Get your bag, bro. I just know he's gonna make a good performance, no matter what. Bro loves to do what he does. Kind of like Frank from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I feel like those two dudes, like, that's another great example of an actor that no matter what, you're always gonna have a good performance. I love him. Let's check it out. Tell me. Of course, right off the bat from the title of the video, Kung Fu Panda 4 is painfully mid. This is by a review by Cartoon She, which I have never reacted to your stuff, my dude. So please go drop him some love, go drop him a like, say hello, what's up, all that good stuff, my dude, because we wanna make sure that they have all the support and love, that they deserve as well, my dude. So please go drop him a like, I'm a sub. And I'm gonna share this on the Discord. I forgot to do that for every other video we've done so far. I'm an idiot. Man. Okay, go.
Skadoosh.
I would just like to say, I really despise being right.
But if you just gave me that clip in a short and you said Kung Fu Panda 4, I would go see it. I'm sorry. I'm not like I'm part of the problem, aren't I? I am part of the problem, aren't I?
Kung Fu Panda 4 has finally been unleashed onto the world, and I was so excited to see it. I took a very brief trip to the United States so I could see the film in all its glory. And I gotta say, there were certainly some interesting story shakeups in this one, though I still don't understand what a slotflight.net is. Real talk though, DreamWorks, can you stop making me wait an ungodly amount of time to see your films legally? Like, come on, I'm already British.
Oh, really? Bro, that sucks! You had to freaking fly to the US to review this?
There's a singular struggle.
By the way, go freaking drop this guy a like and subscribe just for the effort he had to go through to watch this movie to make this review. Are you kidding me, bro? Get out of here, that's
Kung Fu
freaking
Panda
sick!
4 is a film that DreamWorks forgot existed until like 2 weeks ago when they realized they should probably market their movies so they don't end up with a Ruby filming situation again. And the conversation surrounding this film from announcement to release has been strikingly split. And for good reason too. While it is true there are 6 Kung Fu Panda movies.
Whoops, I muted.
Most people accepted Kung Fu Panda surrounding this film from announcement to release
has been
strikingly split. And for good reason too. While it is true there are 6 Kung Fu Panda movies planned out, Jesus, most people accepted Kung Fu Panda
I'm not a doctor or nothing, but last I checked, he was dead. Like, dead.
3 as the natural conclusion to a trilogy. And to
was
Panda
in the
3's
freaking
credit, while it
spirit
is
world.
seen as the weakest in the
Spirit
franchise, well, not anymore, but I'm getting ahead of myself, most people accept it as a satisfying conclusion, and the film overall felt pretty darn conclusive. So the announcement of a 4th Kung Fu Panda movie, while not
No, I'm not
exactly
even gonna lie. If this last one legit said, nah, that was it, like he unalived himself so that he could defeat this dude in the spirit realm, and like was trapped in the spirit realm. Like that's it. He didn't come back. That was just the most goated move. Like that would have been the most goated move if he really just been like, no, that was it. He stayed in the spirit realm. That was the only way to ensure this dude stays in the spirit realm too, and that there was no longer a threat to China. It would have been so sick. I'm not hating or nothing. The ending that they gave you was fine, but I'm just saying it would have goated the entire trilogy for me.
unwelcome, given it's one of Drew
If they
McDonald's
just took
iconic and
such a
beloved
serious turn on
franchises,
that
definitely left a lot of people rightfully skeptical. And that skepticism only strengthened as more details about the film came out, along with a frankly hilarious...
Now, I'm not gonna say, like, before we even get into it, I have noticed this trend in media lately, like a lot, right? I've noticed this trend in media where they will take the main character of a show, game, whatever it is. You can see it in Alan Wake, you can see it in Star Wars. You can see it. Sorry, I'm just regurgitating all the bad memories I had of Star Wars. The last 3 movies we've reviewed. Sorry, that burp really knocked out my freaking train of thought. We've seen it quite a few times in other stuff as well. We saw it in Willow. We saw it in what's another good show that I just recently watched that sort of did the same thing. Well, you see what I'm heading with this. We saw it in the Willow TV show that came out not too long ago on Hulu Plus. You know, we've seen it in quite a few other places as well, where they sort of take the main character, push him out of the way, and say, hey, I know that you like this main character, but... Oh, sorry, Indiana Jones. There we go. Indiana Jones is another perfect example. Hey, we know you love this main character. It's a good main character. They're awesome. They're great. So cool. Now they're a total douche. Now they're old. They're old. They're douchey. They're douchebags. I don't even know why you like them to begin with. So they're gonna do the opposite of what they used to be. So, like, Han Solo, instead of being... like, the guy that even though he's kind of a douche, he was a bad, scummy, like, person. At the end of everything, he changed so much to the point where he sacrificed and is willing to sacrifice everything, including his own life, for a friend. Which is something you would never imagine Han Solo from the first movies doing, because he was just such a scoundrel. Such a, like, just, he was a bad dude, all in all. He was a gun for hire, you know? He was just a transportation, that's all it was. He didn't care about the rebellion. He had no freaking, like, eggs in the fight. I can't remember the phrase. He had no eggs in the basket. You know, so, and Indiana Jones, the archaeologist who cares about history and preserving, you know, all that stuff. All these characters that, like, act a certain way, they completely flip the character and do the opposite. Luke Skywalker, like, they do the opposite of what these characters would do. Then they say they're also old and just terrible. Hate them. They're garbage. They're not even good at fighting anymore. They're not even, all that stuff. They're horrible. They're the worst person ever. Now let me introduce a brand new character. Check it out. This person's amazing. They can do all that cool stuff that the character you like can do, but they can do it better. And they don't even have to go through the entire adventure and journey that your character went through. They just instantly are already awesome. And they're my character, and they're way cooler. And they're gonna beat the day and win everything, and you love them now. You don't love the other character, you love my new character. It's like, bro, just make a whole nother new freaking show or movie or whatever the freak if you're gonna do that. Just leave the freaking old character. Why do we keep doing that? Why do you have to bring in somebody who's better than the freaking main character? Can we just not let the story be? Make something new. That's been really annoying me.
Amount of leaks. Again, as I mentioned in my last video talking about this movie, the unfinished placeholder trailers
I just got that
4,
vibe
just dumped
with the wolf chick character here. It feels like they're like bringing in a new character that, like, for like no reason, like, this is the person you love now.
into my
No more
Discord
Panda.
server, which
Forget
then
the
started a
Panda.
domino effect of them being spread across the entire internet. Every time I walk outside, I
I'm
fear
hoping
I'm
that's
gonna
not
get
the case,
snugged by one of
but-
DreamWorks' fucking ninjas. These trailers included unfinished animation, storyboards, plot details. They placeholder music with a Drake song. It was terrifying. Obviously, I can't show any of the leaked stuff because DreamWorks was likely orbital strike my home. It definitely made me incredibly skeptical of the film, and I can't say it made me very excited. And when the trailer officially dropped, I was even less convinced because it included nearly every leaked scene I was already unconvinced by, along with some new scenes that started to make me worry a little. Despite this fourth film being planned for a while, it really felt like an unnecessary sequel on pretty much every level.
Like, okay, so not only okay, so that's a little disappointing, right? Unnecessary sequel, but it's like, do we not see an issue here? Like, right out the bat, like, what do you expect me to believe here? Do you expect me to believe that this is gonna be right here, this wolf, whatever? Like, I haven't watched the movie. I'm not anticipating this being a freaking character that I'm gonna care about. Where's the Furious Five? I want to see more. Like, you hinted at so much relationship building, like on a sense, like a teacher student co-student, like a really cool respect between like Poe and like Tigress, and I was kind of hoping we would see a little bit more relationship building between like Poe and like, you know, Mantis or Monkey and Viper, you know? Like a little bit more watching them start to interact and get to know each other and maybe build up relationships. But no, instead you freaking bring a whole other character that nobody knows or cares about. Like, what?
Level to me. From the new villain looking very uninspired to the possible regression of Poe's character arc, the complete absence of the Furious Five, Aquafina.
They're not even in the movie! Okay, I was right! I didn't see anything in the trailers!
Not very hopeful. My bare minimum expectation for this movie was that it would be a solid and entertaining installment of the franchise that just kinda went through the motions without the maturity or depth of its predecessors. And now that I've seen the movie through entirely legal means, I promise, I'm honestly shocked at how mid the film is. If I had to describe it, Kung Fu Panda 4 feels like a first draft movie on autopilot. I cannot begin to describe how disappointing this movie was.
A first draft movie on autopilot.
But I'm gonna try. Also, later on in the video, there will be spoilers mentioned, and I'll put up a disclaimer when the time comes, because there are some major
And
problems
they wonder why AI is taking over.
this movie that I cannot get into without spoiling it, especially when it comes to this film's ending and how genuinely awful it is. So for starters, let's go over the obvious things first, superficial stuff along with some actual concerns a lot of people had. Firstly, the big question. Is Aquafina annoying in this movie?
Oh, it's Aquafina?
Shut the fuck up.
I haven't seen the Little Mermaid one. I can't talk on it. I don't care. I freaking loved her in Shang-Chi. I love her attitude. She's awesome.
She is still playing the
really
exact
listen
same
to any of her
character she
music.
keeps getting typecast as. Admittedly, this is
So
not
it
her
might
most
have to do with the fact
infuriating-
that I have very little exposure to Aquafina, but I genuinely liked her in Shang-Chi. So I know her from, I don't know.
role. You can thank this movie not having musical numbers for that. But overall, I thought this was important to address, just so people looking for an Aquafina trigger warning could be put at ease. Now, the soundtrack of this movie, banger. Actually,
Yeah?
so goated. All of the Kung Fu Panda films have
Oh, I'm
fantastic
glad.
soundtracks, and this movie really is no exception. It's just that unlike the previous films, the soundtrack for this one is its best quality. Now,
You better not have Jack Black and have a bad soundtrack, bro. Come on.
animation-wise, this movie is about on par with Kung Fu Panda 3, so there really hasn't been much change here. Overall, the film just looks fine from an animation standpoint. The lighting across the entire film is gorgeous, I'll give it that. But going off of art direction, it's nowhere near as striking as the previous films. This was a concern I had with the trailer because a lot of the new characters did not fit the art style of Kung Fu Panda very well. And overall, despite the animation quality being on par, there's something about the film that feels far more sanitized from a visual standpoint. Okay, now onto the actually important stuff.
I'm not gonna lie to you. And correct me if I'm wrong. Not correct me if I'm wrong, right? But let me know if you disagree, I should say. A lot of the animation I saw,
Kung Fu Panda 4
like I don't know what it is, right? But especially with the eye animation, and maybe it's the clothing animation. I don't know what it is, but it just gives me an air of DreamWorks.
entire film is gorgeous, I'll give it that.
DreamWorks TV animation. Like, specifically the Boss Baby. I don't know if you guys have seen the Boss Baby TV show. I'm not gonna forget that. I take care of a lot of children on my part-time job. So I have unfortunately had to suffer through many an episode of Boss Babies, the TV show. And after going through that nightmare, the animation really speaks out to me as a lot more doll-ish, plasticky, as opposed to in the other Kung Fu Pandas. It looked
But going off
more
of art direction,
like fur.
it's
It looked
nowhere
more
near
like
as striking as the previous films.
scales,
This was
the
a
fur,
concern
the
I
thing
had
that it
with the
would be,
trailer
you
because a
feel me?
lot of the new characters did not fit the art style of Kung Fu Panda very well. And overall, despite the animation quality being on par, there's something about the film that feels far more sanitized from a visual standpoint. Okay, now onto the actually important stuff. Was Kung Fu Panda 4 a necessary...
Like, I don't know, am I wrong here? I might
And
be
overall,
wrong
despite
here.
the
I might
animation
just
quality
be
being on
harshly
par, there's something
criticizing
about the
this.
film that feels far more
But
sanitized.
I don't like... I don't know. It feels like the background and the foreground just are two entirely different art styles.
From a visual standpoint. Okay, now
Which
onto
there's
the
a way
actually
to blend
important
them
stuff.
and
Was
make
Kung Fu
them
Panda
like sort
4
of
a necessary
look like they
sequel?
belong. I feel like
I don't
the
think
original
so,
movies
like,
did that really
at
well.
all. Did it at least try anything new that I like on a conceptual level? Kinda? But before
Like
that, I gotta get this off.
What is that? That little stuff. What is
Kung
that?
Fu
What is
Panda
that?
4 a necessary sequel? I don't think so.
What is that
like,
graphic?
at all. Did it at least try anything new that I like on a
That
conceptual
split screen grab? What is this?
level? Kinda? But before
That's
that, I
what
gotta
that
get this.
gives me super DreamWorks TV vibes. You see that you see the little like split screen that kind of stuff constantly on the TV shows for DreamWorks.
Off my chest.
Constantly.
This movie is fast. Like cars, not that
Bro,
car,
I'm
this
convinced
car.
they had
Kung Fu Panda
the
4's
TV
pacing
animation
is
studio
breakneck. You would not
animate this
believe
one.
how
I'm
insanely
convinced.
fast this movie plays out. It's like watching a movie that is
It's not
perpetually
bad. Don't
stuck
get me
at two
wrong.
times.
It's not bad at all. Do not get me wrong. I don't hate on it. It's just like it's noticeable compared to the previous iterations.
Speed. When the movie got to the 20-minute mark, it genuinely felt like I had been sitting there for a good 40 minutes because of how hilariously inept the pacing is. From the minute the movie begins, it is determined to fry your cerebral cortex. It is bizarre. I obviously can't use examples from the legally sampled clips I have because I'm already in hot water with DreamWorks as it stands, but the movie continuously jumps from one scene to the next, not giving any
How does the
character
chameleon
moment.
turn into people? Is it just based on touch? Is it like My Hero Academia where you just touch them and you can turn into them? Like, how does that work?
Of the few there actually are, and story reveal any time to breathe. It's like the cinematic equivalent of waterboarding. We had to keep playing back some scenes because we just had no fucking
Oh, they
idea
brought
what was
him back from
happening
the
half the
spirit
time.
realm?
It all goes by so quickly that your brain can barely register what's happening. It's like watching an officially licensed Kung Fu Panda content farm
See,
scenes
look at
because we
this.
just had no
Look
fucking
at this,
idea
right? It's like you
what
feel
was
like they could have
happening
been.
half the time. It all goes by
Sorry to cut your point off like that, right? But like you see stuff like this, like all those different kung fu masters that they talk about in the previous movies, like you could have said like, oh, the chameleon brought like use them too, you know. So it's like the idea is there. You could have done so much
quickly
with
that your brain can barely register what's happening. It's like watching an officially licensed Kung Fu Panda content farm video on YouTube Kids where Jack Black sings "Baby" one more time at the end. And what's more shocking about this is that Kung Fu Panda 4 is the shortest film in the franchise, clocking in at 1 hour and 20 minutes. There's enough plot and interesting ideas here that could easily be played out in a movie that has an extra 15 or even 20 minutes added onto its runtime. Regardless of some of the ideas here being genuinely interesting or even good on paper, none of it is done any justice or is given any time to be fleshed out. And this is the movie's largest problem. The pacing is horrendous. There's a big difference between having a fast-paced movie and a fast-paced movie that twists the viewer's neck 180 degrees every time the scene changes. But even disregarding
the fact, like graphics like this, the fact that it's such a short length. The animations that like they full blown got their TV animation studio to animate this. And Megamind 2. Megamind 2 is way worse. The animation looks way more TV.
Poor pacing. There is so much about this movie that feels incredibly off compared to the first three. For starters, everyone's concerns about the Furious 5 being gone were completely founded because they are nowhere to be found in this movie until the credits. Not a mid-credit scene.
Thanks for telling me, because my memory's so bad, bro. I can't forget this. I can't do this.
They show up for the credits. Lord have mercy, my goats are washed. Within the first 5 minutes of the film, they have a 10-minute sequence explaining that the Furious 5 are all out doing their own things. And it is such a fast and confusing scene. Truthfully, I have no idea why the 5 are just completely absent from this movie. Especially when the director...
Again, see, this convinces me. It's what I was saying at the beginning of this. It's like friggin' every movie has been like, recently has been like, oh, you like the main character? Screw that main character. This is the new character. You're gonna love them. And it's like, friggin', you could have taken any of the Furious 5 here to be his, like, buddy cop or whatever the frick you're gonna do with this fox. You could have taken anyone. Take Monke. Monke would have freaking been dope. Jackie Chan, get Jackie Chan to do it, or get Jackie Chan's not even the TV one. Get the voice actor from the TV. Like what?
Mike Mitchell basically lied through his teeth and said that not only were the 5 definitely going to be in the film, but that the film would also bring back every single character from the previous movie.
Oh yeah, we can't, I don't stream on YouTube on Fridays, my dude. I do Twitch and Kick exclusively, because YouTube gets mad at me if I react to trailers and stuff on Fridays. And just after so many times of YouTube, like, literally just shutting down my stream mid-stream, I just got tired of it. So I figured, meh. And now we might even add Saturdays or a different day to Kick only, so I can start watching anime.
Movies. This is a very misleading statement because while yes, everyone does return, the movie doesn't actually do anything with them. A huge part of this movie's marketing came from the idea of Poe fighting all of his previous foes, who were in fact just the new villain, the chameleon, in disguise. But that never happens. Tai Lung at least gets actual dialogue, but Shen and Kai don't even speak. And there's never any moment where Poe genuinely believes he's fighting his old enemies or whatnot. He finds out about the chameleon at the start of the movie. It's only when Poe and the chameleon first fight that she turns into Tai Lung, Shen, and Kai. But they are only brief transformations. This movie's marketing is incredibly misleading and it removes a large part of my interest in the film's story, not helped by how—
What, so she could just see... just look at you and turn into you? How does that make friggin' sense? Or is it like an ability? Is it like the chi? Is it, does she steal
much of a
chi?
wet napkin the new villain actually is. I was skeptical about the chameleon from the beginning, and can I just say that for a friend leading and it removes a large part of my interest in the film's story, not helped by how much of a wet napkin the new villain actually—
Bro, they really... Sorry, I just wanna... They really just put a new Call of Duty skin on him and said, like, that's the bad guy, yeah. They said, here's the Call of Duty Zombies version. There you go. Bad guy achieved. Oop, I muted it, idiot.
For a franchise that is renowned for having some utterly fantastic villains, the chameleon is not only just a disappointment, she is a f*** up of biblical proportions. In the previous movies, you get the villains dealing their motivations immediately.
She, like, sucks it all up.
Shown how badass they are, what they're capable of. They have an all-consuming presence on screen. They get shit done. The chameleon? No source. None. Her entire gimmick is transforming into anything she wants, but unlike how the trailer suggested the film would play out, she doesn't have any unique powers. She just transforms into stuff. It's only later in the film do you actually get the scene where she steals the kung fu of everyone trapped in the spirit realm. It would have been far better if she had some new way of going into the spirit realm from the very beginning of the film, as opposed to needing Oogway's staff. If you switch this scene with Tai Lung getting his power stolen and you put it at the start of the film, this not only establishes the chameleon as a genuine threat, it also actually displays how terrifying her powers are. Obviously, the script would need to be rewritten, but this is a far better and more effective opening scene than the one we got, and it would lead to the chameleon actually having a commanding screen presence, because otherwise, she's just a pathetic fraud with no menace whatsoever. The scariest thing—
Kinda like the villain of the week, don't you think? Oh, bro, this tinfoil hats on, bro. I'm convinced they used the TV animation team and the writers. They probably fired all their freaking, they probably fired all their movie staff to make way for the new AI-powered freaking, like, TV freaking dudes. New performance gonna flop? Yeah, people did not have high expectations for it.
She does is kick someone down a flight of stairs after turning into an elephant. Compare that to Tai Lung's prison break, Shen straight up killing Master Rhino. Hell, even Kai had a fantastic opening by defeating Master Oogway and every other kung fu master in the spirit realm and stealing their chi. The chameleon is such a lame villain with a ton of potential that is never tapped into, especially when you—
Yeah, because she's just a villain of the week. You only have a limited runtime on an episode, so you kind of just have to, like, have it all resolved by the end of it, no matter how little character building there's been.
Realize how f***ing easy she goes down. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Poe's usage of the staff throughout the whole movie is insanely frustrating. He never uses it, and the only time he does use it until the very end of the film is during a bar fight with a bunch of nobodies. Even though, as shown by the—
Isn't that the most annoying thing? My biggest complaint in a lot of video games that I used to, like, play was always like, dude, how come the bad guys always get the coolest stuff? Like, y'all remember Power Rangers? It'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I got a freaking little thing. It gives me a suit. It's a nice suit. Meanwhile, this lady's just like, hey, here you go. I'm gonna give you this freaking thing, and it's gonna turn you into a monster with bazookas on your back. It's like, freaking, how come they get the cool stuff? What the frick? You know, of course you got the Zords, you know, but so we can complain. But, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? The bad guys always get the cool stuff. Think of Shaolin Showdown. Jack, he always had all the best gear. Freaking, like, bro, get the, how come he always has the best stuff? All the bad guys always get the coolest gear, the coolest outfits, and the coolest, like, stuff. The heroes always get, like, weak sauce stuff, you know, as a way to nerf them and have them, you know, make them have to overcome stuff. But it's like, if you're gonna nerf them and have them have to overcome stuff, then don't give them the overpowered staff at the beginning of the movie!
Finale, the
That's on you as a writer. What's wrong with you?
2 hits from the staff, and yet Poe never uses it until the plot just demands that he does. This not only shows us how much of a fraud-ass bitch the chameleon is, it's
What's
also
Tommy's flute? What's that about? What's Tommy's flute? Is that something I said earlier?
just horrible writing. This thing is so overpowered, the film just constantly forgets that Poe can use it until they have to wrap up the story. Genuinely, what is the point of the chameleon if they go down in 2 hits to a weapon Poe has had from the end of the last movie? What is going on? Did the writers fall asleep? The film seems to be prioritizing constant jokes as opposed to
they made him OP. They made him OP in the previous movie.
Storytelling, which just doesn't work with Kung Fu Panda. There's none of the emotional sincerity and maturity that defined the previous films. It's a movie designed purely for kids that ignores the appeal the franchise had towards older audiences and has very little respect for what came before. I mean, there's a whole subplot involving Poe's dads going out to find him for some reason, and it's such pointless garbage because they don't do anything meaningful over the course of the film. You can remove them and the events of the movie play out the exact same way. I have no idea why they are here. Their scenes together are not funny. I don't get what the point is. This is precious time that could be spent fleshing out the other parts of the film that desperately need some extra impact. Now, conceptually,
Well, yeah, just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like they needed to cut all that out and, like, give all that time to the chameleon.
do like what's on display here. The whole plot of the film revolves around Poe having to find a successor that he can train to become the next Dragon Warrior, and trying to embrace this inevitable change in his life when he's not ready for it.
Find a successor? I thought the whole point was that he's gonna pass it on to one of the Furious Five. Wasn't that the deal? It goes to the Dragon Warrior, and then the Dragon Warrior trains the next, which would have been Tigress, no? I thought that was the whole point of them, like, starting to learn how to, like, be friends, and, like, isn't that the whole reason why they were starting to get close and becoming friends in the third one? Because Tigress is basically, like, the next in charge, so to speak. Also, why is he looking for a successor? He's, how old is he? He's not a freaking old, what?
Mitchell did state in interviews that Kung Fu Panda 4 is
sort of
a love letter to the first.
Now they're gonna be like, now you just pass on the Dragon Warrior to the next person. See, forget your main character. Now my character's better than Luke Skywalker. Just ignore Luke Skywalker. Now it's about Rey.
Movie, and you can tell just with how many parallels there are. And I like this idea in concept. Poe's journey began by being thrust into a role he was not ready for, and him struggling to let go of that role is an interesting idea. And Poe being a teacher to train the next Dragon Warrior is absolutely something I can get down with. But as with all things, the problem...
the Green Ranger, Tommy! Bro, Tommy. My boy, Tommy! I fucking love Tommy! Dude, Tommy's the best. He's like in every single Power Ranger, bro. Every single one. Freaking loved him. He was the best. He had the Dragonzoid. Oh, and then later on, he gets the freaking, doesn't he get the freaking, the saber-toothed tiger, the white one? Oh, yeah, and Dino Thunder. Bro, Tommy! Was it Tommy who got the Space Ranger? No, he didn't get Space Ranger. Did he get the White Ranger during the Cosmic Power Ranger? Bro, Tommy was in every freaking single one, bro. He was sick. He went from Green Ranger to Red Ranger to freaking White Ranger. Oh, dude was sick. Loved him.
In its execution.
I love that one. The Dino Rangers and the freaking car one. The space Ranger. I love the space. Don't get me wrong. I love the Space Rangers with the space. Oh, that was so sick. But I love the car one too. Remember the car one? How the season finale of the car one, they had to like reach the freaking spaceship on time, and they had to leave the Blue Ranger behind because the Blue Ranger's like a kid. You know, it wouldn't make sense to take him into space. He has a mom and dad and whatnot at home, on planet Earth.
In general, the way this film handles Poe's character arc is really disappointing and flies in the face of the previous two movies. I'm sort of going to repeat what I said in my trailer analysis video here because I was pretty much right on the money with this. Poe's whole
arc... Bro, if they brought Fisherman Karate from One Piece to freaking... To Kung Fu Panda, I would have lost it. You would have sold me right there. What do you mean?
The two is about overcoming his childhood trauma, the loss of his parents, and the attempted genocide of its people by Lord Shen, finding his own inner peace. The finale of Kung Fu Panda 2 is an emotionally powerful conclusion and led to Poe growing as a character, healing from his trauma and not letting the past define him and distract him from the present. Poe's arc is what made that finale so satisfying, and it's a big reason why Kung Fu Panda 2 is commonly seen as the best film in the franchise. It's just peak fiction. Poe struggling to find his inner peace, everything's so
phenomenal.
important
It's
to him in the
freaking
second
phenomenal,
movie,
man.
and having it played out as a joke really doesn't sit right with
If
me.
I had to have one criticism as to why I felt like the story was not, like, God tier, just an absolute, like, just the definition of good writing in movies. I didn't like, in particular, how Crocodile, was it Crocodile and Ox, right? Got, like, convinced by this dude here, like, off screen to join the fight. I didn't like that. That was kind of sucky. I didn't like that. Like, they off screen got convinced. I felt like you could have put in an extra little 2 or 3 minute scene of like him giving a short, nice speech, you know, or something. I get it. It wouldn't have given as much, like, it wouldn't have seemed like as much as a surprise, but maybe if you dropped hints or something throughout the movie that he might be showing up, something. I don't know.
This whole spiel about how the
It's always
Dragon
one of those
Warrior
plot
is who
holes
he
that
really is
sticks in the back of my
really
head
doesn't
with that
feel
one.
right. Kung Fu
Good-
Panda
good
3
film,
is
good
generally
film, though.
kind of
Watched it too many
forgotten about in
times.
this movie. Like, at pretty much every turn, it acts like the third film just didn't happen. Aside from bringing back Poe's dad. Poe's entire conflict in that film stems from him having an identity crisis brought along from him being given a new role as a teacher to the Furious Five, along with how he feels regarding his adoptive and biological dads. And you want to know what conclusion he
Yeah,
came
you
to?
see what I mean? He's literally teaching the Furious Five in this one. The Kung Fu Panda game was better. I love it. Like, he's genuinely teaching. He is the teacher of the Furious Five. How is that not going to be his
Am I the
predecessor?
son of a panda? The son of a
What?
goose? A student? A teacher? Turns out, I'm all of them.
Then we snap back to Kung Fu Panda 4, and it's like I'm watching a version of Poe who hasn't progressed since the first movie. Someone who lacks the maturity and depth of a character who had a perfect arc spanning 3
Which you
entire
tend to
movies.
see
Someone who hasn't
in the
faced his
TV
trauma
shows, I'm
and
just
guilt from
saying.
it and found their inner peace. Someone who doesn't know who they are or where they belong in the world despite already finding the answer. I'm overall left incredibly disappointed with where this movie takes the series and handles its characters. Zen, the new character, is nothing to write home about, just Aquafina typecasted garbage. And look, is it really a spoiler to say that she's going to be the next Dragon Warrior? Like, should I really care about saying that? It's so obvious.
Called it! She's Rey Skywalker.
From the film's plot synopsis to her constantly being tied to
She
Poe,
is
the
Skywalker.
parallels
She
between
is-
Poe
she
and
is
Shifu,
the
you can
freak-
see this coming a
She
mile
is Luke
away. and I-
Skywalker. She is Indiana Jones's. I forgot the name. What's the name of the new chick from Indiana Jones? She's that.
would have hoped there would be some moment where I can genuinely feel like these characters have developed a strong enough bond to
Forget your
justify
Luke
such a
Skywalker,
choice. But
this
because
is
of this
our Rey
movie's
Skywalker,
insane pacing,
and
no
that's
scene
just-
between them
it's
has
just gonna
any
be better. You're
impact.
just gonna
I don't
love
feel
this
I should
character
care at
now.
all about anything
Your
going on
character is
between them.
gone.
Like,
Forget
this
that
is the
character.
problem.
They
Kung Fu
suck
Panda
now.
4 fails
You
to make
hate
you
them.
care about the story and the
Like, no, I
characters
don't.
within. It is
Just
a
'cause you wrote them
fast-paced,
terribly
colorful
doesn't mean I
kids
hate the
movie that cranks
character.
out 1,000 jokes per scene with a staggering number of misses, I might add.
Just to any writers out there. He says as if he would have any kind of influence over the world. Just because you write the character terribly doesn't mean the character's bad. It just means that you're bad at writing that character. And that's what angers me about all these like writers taking over writing characters that are not originally their characters, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. I'm not gonna like get too far into it, but it just doesn't sit right with me whenever you just take a character and like full on disrespect them like that. Like unapologetically, like not handled with any kind of grace whatsoever.
And seems to just disregard the core appeal of the franchise and what made it work in the first place. I'm not saying this is an awful movie, I've seen worse, no doubt, but Kung Fu Panda 4 is a DreamWorks movie on autopilot. I do not believe this movie was made in good faith or as part of a plan. It is so ungodly messy that I just refuse to believe it. There were 6 films planned for this franchise, but no one actually wants to acknowledge why it possibly took them this long to finally make another installment, and that's because I genuinely believe they were content with 3
It's
being the
supposed to be
conclusion.
Zen?
4
The
does
next
nothing
3 movies are supposed to
remotely
be
interesting
Zen?
enough to justify its existence, and while it
For the
isn't a
next 2,
total
I guess?
disaster, it is a mind-boggling disappointment on almost every level. DreamWorks, I sure hope that cool-looking robot movie of yours is a slam dunk.
The trailer looks freaking phenomenal, my dude. I'm genuinely excited for this one.
Because you guys are not doing too hot this year,
dude.
and this is coming from
It
someone
looks
who
really
knows that
good.
inconsistency is part of DreamWorks' charm. Anyway, that's all for now. Play Yakuza or something.
What a great video, my dude. Please go and support Cartoon Sheet. Already subscribe, I like, go support, drop them an Ayoo in the chat so they know when the love came from, my dude. Like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. Live reactions every Friday, so swing by.